Chelsea versus Leeds. Chelsea versus Leeds. Ladies and gentlemen, apparently it's going to be treated as a final. It's going to be treated like a final for Graham Potter. I mean, Leeds game treated as a final. Wow, this is where it's come down to. And on top of that, our records in final recently not been that great, bruv. It's not been that great. So not really sure exactly how to treat this for Graham Potter. But nonetheless, let's do this preview, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea versus Leeds at Stamford Bridge match preview. This is a huge one. Look, from me being a fan and a staunch fan of Chelsea Football Club, I definitely want to see our club win. I'm just desperate for a win. I'm badly itching for a win. Regardless of what happens, I suppose with Graham Potter. For me, I've seen enough. Me personally, I've seen enough of what Graham Potter can give us at Chelsea Football Club. And in all honesty, I don't think it's enough. I don't think he's good enough for Chelsea Football Club. I think he was fine for that Brighton level. And it's okay to admit that. There are certain managers who tend to show great impact in lower or mid-table clubs. And we tend to think maybe they could do great if given a bigger budget, if given better facilities, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And then maybe Graham Potter falls into that category. So for me, I just want a victory. But there's a lot of Chelsea fans out there. There's a good portion of Chelsea fans out there that actually want Chelsea to lose against Leeds, so that it is absolutely confirmed that Graham Potter gets sacked. I do believe, even though the notion of the next two games is getting floated around, Leeds and then Dortmund. But I feel like this game, if you don't get a win, whether it's a draw or a loss, you're 100% gone. Draw as well, I feel like Graham Potter will be in very, very difficult situation. I don't even think he's going to get the game against Dortmund. Look, he may. But personally, as I said, for me, I've seen enough. But there are certain fans that are actually wanting Chelsea to lose. And there's a lot of chaos that's going on in social media, stating that these are not fans, they're plastic, this, that, the other. Me on the other side, I understand. Do I agree with it? No, but I understand why they want Chelsea to lose, because they're fed up. They're fed up of seeing Graham Potter continue on, and he's been given enough time. I think we as a fan base have been patient enough. 2 out of 16 in the last 16 matches, 2 wins out of the last 16 matches is abysmal. And we are breaking some crazy records, 6 goals since November or something like that. And, 1 win in 2023, like all sorts of crazy stats out there that is getting floated around. Graham Potter's win percentage at Chelsea Football Club is the lowest out of all the managers that we've had in the history, 27% or something like that. So I understand where those fans are coming from. As I said, don't agree with it, but I understand it. Now, before we get into the whole details of this particular match, and I don't really want to take time talking about Leeds. Leeds are in the relegation battle, and they're going to come with a lot of energy. They're going to come with a lot of fire, and they're going to put up a fight. Tyler Adams has already come out and said that, this is going to be a dogfight. They want to win, and they understand that we want to win as well because we're in the mud. So from a Leeds point of view, we know they're going to bring the game. They're going to have to bring the game. They beat Southampton last weekend, I believe, and we lost to Southampton. So we better not take this lightly one bit. They beat us earlier on this season under Thomas Tuchel. They work hard. They press hard. And if they rattle us with their pressing and they're running around, chasing the ball down, we're in trouble. Now, before talking about the match, and as I said, that's pretty much what I want to say about the match, and I'll do the lineup. I want to talk about a few key things. First of all, and this is what I've been wanting to do for a little while. First of all, why hasn't Graham Potter really worked out? I think there's 3 different sort of things that I want to talk about, which is why hasn't Graham Potter worked out? Why hasn't the owners sort of pulled the plug as yet? Can Graham Potter actually salvage something out of this? I think these things are needed to be addressed, and it hasn't been really talked about. Why hasn't Graham Potter worked out at Chelsea Football Club? Let's try and sort of assess this a little bit. I feel like Graham Potter is just not been able to bring the authority. He's just not been able to command or demand that level of authority that a Chelsea Football Club manager needs. there's a lot of players in the current squad at the moment that have won multiple stuff. Do you know what I mean? They've won Premier League titles, they won Champions League, they won Europa Cup, they won a whole heap of domestic cups as well. So you got a lot of players, and there's a world champion with Enzo Fernandez as well. So you got a lot of players that have won some serious silverware, and then you've got a particular manager that's come in who's not had, that CV, that background. And on top of that, having this laissez-faire, sort of lazy sort of attitude towards, life and his commentary around that's life and whatnot. I don't know whether it brushes off well with some of these players. I mean, initially, there might have been a bit of a kick when we went through a bit of that run in the Champions League, and then we followed up with some wins in the Premier League. But as the days went on, I think these players got to see that Graham Potter's just not ruthless enough. How's he going to manage us to get any sort of trophies? And these are some of the comments that we've seen in recent times on Twitter from journalists that cover Chelsea, is that they like him as a person. He's a personable human being, but at the end of the day, they don't believe that he can win stuff. Like, he's just not. He doesn't have that cutting edge about him. At Brighton, we keep lauding about what he's done so well at Brighton, but his best finish at Brighton was, I think, 10th or 9th, something like that. And I get it, Brighton with that budget and with the facilities that they have, that's probably excellent. And you'd think by giving him more ingredients, maybe he does better. But sometimes it just doesn't work that way. So not being able to command and demand the authority that a Chelsea manager needs probably is one of the factors why he hasn't worked out. I don't know whether there's been a notion of maybe the owners have intervened at times as to what they want to see in terms of formation, because it makes me think someone like Graham Potter, who was predominantly using back three, all of a sudden comes to Chelsea Football Club, and everything that he was known for in Brighton, he's not really brought in at Chelsea Football Club. I get it, that's Brighton. At Chelsea's not Brighton, but you have a set of rules and principle, and you've not been able to bring that forward. Is that the owners saying that maybe you need to play a lot more with back four, or is that injuries played a part? There was a lot of centre backs that were injured. Now the centre backs are back. I don't understand why we're not going back to that back three and wing backs being the wingers. Whether that particular formation would work with us, whether that structure would work with us, I don't know. We've not really given it enough shot. It was definitely working at Brighton. Teams approach Brighton in a different way. Teams approach Chelsea in a different way. And again, this season, we are getting treated like a lower table team, mid-table team anyway. So why not implement that particular formation, that style? Overall, it's just the character, isn't it? Overall, it's just everything that he says pre-match, post-match, and I've said it many times, these players, at the end of the day, they see all this stuff on social media, and they see how, their gaffer is getting mocked about, laughed about. And I just get the feeling that they just don't have the belief. They just don't have the belief in Graham Potter. He doesn't have that cutting edge. He doesn't have that ruthless mentality like a Chelsea manager should if you want to win titles. So that's probably one of the reasons why he hasn't worked out. In regards to why haven't the owners pulled the plug as yet? Look, there's a multitude of theories that's going around, multitude of conspiracy theories that's floating around. One of them being obviously the financial kerfuffle. Absolutely screwed ourselves financially, giving him a long-term contract, big wages, 12 million a year, I believe 5-year contract or 4-year contract, something like that. They've really put all their eggs in one basket, and they don't want to pull the plug as yet because they'll look like a laughing stock. I mean, like as if they're not looked as a laughing stock right now, the owners. But they know if they were to pull the plug right now, 6 months after, or 7 months after, something like that, from the new manager being brought in, they're really going to be the laughing stock of the town. On top of that, all the journalists will have a field day. So having said that, a lot of the journalists are having a field day right now. So that's one thing. Financially, it's a bit of a mess. Second thing, ego. Do you know what I mean? Like the owners sacked Thomas Tuchel, like cold-bloodedly sacked him and brought in someone like Graham Potter. So they feel that now we've made a decision and we want to stick by them. So ego definitely has a big part. But you need to understand, when you make a mistake, you have to admit that you've made a mistake, and then you got to rectify it. But these guys too egotistic to see that situation. There's other theories that's going around that all this notion about 2 matches, maybe it's just all a bit of a bluff. At the end of the day, after the 2 matches, what's there to play for at Chelsea Football Club? You know what I mean? We're going to be out of the Champions League. We're not going to make top 4. So owners will be in a position at that point to push that, you know what, yeah, we did talk about getting rid of him after the 2 games, but right now it probably makes sense to keep him because there's not much else going on, for the remainder of the season, as long as we don't get relegated, and personally, I don't think we're going to get relegated. We're going to be able to survive. There's no doubts about that. How we survive is a different question, but I think we'll be able to survive. There are worse teams, I suppose, in the league that will keep dropping points, and not by our own will that will survive. We'll probably survive because other teams are worse than us. So there's multitude of reasons why the owners are not making a change. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, and as Arteta recently said when asked about, what does he think about the Graham Potter situation? I don't know why all of these other managers are getting asked about Graham Potter. It's quite strange. Arteta said, you got to win. You got to, even someone like Arteta is saying that there's a limit to everything. There's a limit for how much backing you're going to get, and eventually enough, you got to start winning. So for me personally, as I said, I don't think anything can change as yet. Even if he wins the next 2, I need to see prolonged period of wins for me to be convinced again with Graham Potter. Right now, I strongly believe, I think Leeds will get something out of this match. So there's that. And finally, can Graham Potter actually salvage something from this particular squad, from this particular situation? Maybe he can. Look, wins will change things. Get a victory against Leeds, move on to the Dortmund one, get a victory over there, and take us to the next round of Champions League. You will see certain parts of the fan base probably change. Me personally, I need to see a lot more, but maybe there is something that he can salvage. But what is going massively against him at the moment is I feel like there are certain players that just don't believe in him. And when you've lost the dressing room, and I believe he probably has lost the dressing room. I know there's a lot of PR coming out from Cucurella, coming out from Reece James, coming out from Thiago Silva, but I think it's all systematic. It's all coming through quite forced. Like you can tell it's coming. It's not natural. It's very much forced. All of these players are represented by their agents in social media, and maybe the club reached out to them to put out these positive posts. Trust the process, stick together, we're all in together, this, that, the other. I mean, it seems very strange. When someone like Cucurella says trust the process in an Instagram story off the back of him not even being in the squad. I find that quite strange. Koulibaly saying Graham Potter is is a great manager. I find that quite strange when literally Koulibaly has not been featuring that much in the squad, sometimes not in the squad, sometimes an unused player from the bench. Recent times he started, but yeah, I mean, look, the bloated squad doesn't help Graham Potter as well. There's a lot of players that consistently will miss out, and once again, I feel like that's the owners not being able to get rid of a lot of players made it difficult for Graham Potter. But this is the thing. I mean, I guess another reason is I truly believe the owners were looking for a yes man. They were really, really looking for a yes man. And this makes me think, characters like Jose Mourinho, Diego Simeone, or even Luis Enrique, as you can see in the ticker. Luis Enrique is very keen to get back into work, and he is looking at the whole Chelsea situation with Graham Potter. So there could be something there. There's no talk that's going on at the moment, but there could be something brewing. But how are these managers going to get an opportunity with these owners? These owners, they seem to want a particular individual that will listen to them, collaborate with them. They'll be asking about formations and lineups, this, that, the other. I get the feeling that's what's going on. And Graham Potter is someone who just doesn't, he listens. And at 12 million a year, you would listen. So the owners make it easy. I do blame the owners. We seriously do blame the owners now. As much as the kind of damage that they did in the January window was fantastic to see. All the quality players, but they need to give the footballing decisions to the people that are in charge at the moment in the club, in the likes of Vivell and Winstanley and Laurence, Stewart. They need to just leave those people with the authority to make the sound decisions. I don't think they should intervene with, what's going on with the formation, what's going on with the lineup. There's a tweet that's going around that. Let me see if I can actually bring this tweet up. That Thomas Tuchel was actually questioned. There we go. Here, Thomas Tuchel had not taken kindly to his tactics and the team selections being questioned, and his fate was sealed in the following days after the 3-0 defeat to Leeds. Tuchel's only regret is he had unfinished business with Chelsea. So there you go. Like, owners were questioning him, questioning Thomas Tuchel. Like, come on, man. This guy is a serial winner. Do you know what I mean? He's won many stuff, like not just with Chelsea Football Club, but previously as well. So, to question him, I think it just shows what level of owners that we're dealing with that want to be very involved in Chelsea's day-to-day operations in playing games. Check this out. Chelsea versus Leeds is crucial for Graham Potter. It's like a final. Do you know what I mean? Leeds game is treated like a final. Chelsea have to win. Further goes on to say Chelsea are internally exploring the causes of this current disaster. As I said, I think some of the players are just over time has realized that they're just not going to win anything with Graham Potter, and as the respect for him every single week just diminishes to the point that this is the kind of results that we're getting right now. Luis Enrique wants to return to management as soon as possible. He's ready and looking for the right project. Let's see what happens with Graham Potter at Chelsea. Look, this is a particular news I'm keenly looking forward to and see where this goes. Any drop points against Leicester, I think it's going to be quite detrimental. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get in on the lineup. This is what I would do. I'd go with a 4. Look, to be honest, no, do you know what? I do want to go with a 3 at the back. I personally feel that's the right sort of setup for us at the moment. But then again, Reece James is not available. Thiago Silva is not available. Mason Mount's not available. N'Golo Kante has returned back to training, but he's not available. Mendy is not available. So can we actually play 3 at the back? Who's going to be the wing backs? We don't have wing backs. So might have to go with 4 at the back on this one again. Might just go with a 4-2-3-1. Let's see what can be done with this. Look, as I said, it's not looking good with all these absentees. Like Reece James, another one, ladies and gentlemen. With us having to look after him in recent times, making sure he's not overloaded with work, managing his time, and he still has hamstring issues. Do you know what I mean? He's still getting these injuries. This is concerning for Reece James and his, future longevity in not just at Chelsea football, but football in general, like the sport itself. This guy just keeps getting himself injured, and then these muscle injuries are. Even when he's getting looked after, he recently had a rest against Southampton. So now he's got this muscle injury again. Okay, we'll go with the 4 at the back due to those team news that some of these players are not available. Kepa in goalkeeping position. Mendy is still not fully back yet. We'll go with Cucurella. Should we go with Cucurella? He didn't play last match. Chilwell wasn't good. Yeah, look, at this point, it doesn't even matter anymore. I feel like we're not going to do well in this match, honestly. I just feel the players are going to down tools, and they're going to just wait for Graham Potter to be sacked. In the middle, no Silva, so we'll go with Badiashile. I don't understand why he was dropped last game. Koulibaly, I mean, I'll go with Fofana. Wesley Fofana probably deserves to start. Badiashile and Wesley Fofana, I'll give them a go. Yeah. But I mean, Koulibaly's he's not been consistent enough. He's just not been consistent enough. In the right side, Aspi, I don't know if I'm going to trust him. I'm going to go with Chalobah. Aspi, I don't know whether he's available. He may be available, but definitely Reece James isn't available. I'm going with Enzo Fernandez and Kovacic. Watch Ruben Loftus-Cheek start, and that'll be curtains for Graham Potter. On the left side, let's get Modric back on, man. Let's get him back on. Don't understand why he doesn't start. Seriously, £100 million or euros, whatever it is, player. I think it's euros, 100 million euros player to be in the bench. The best way to get his match fitness is he needs to play. He needs to play. João Felix through the middle. We'll go with Sterling on the right, and up front we'll go with. I'd go with Oba because if he puts on Havertz, I think that's it. You're gonna trust on Havertz to save your career. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my lineup that I'd go with against Leeds. Look, I'm not confident. I am not one bit confident. I'm thinking it's going to be a Leeds victory or a draw. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go with potentially a 1-1. Potentially a 1-1. I'm feeling it's going to be a draw. I can't see how we win this. These players, especially Aubameyang, how do you think he's going to feel? Knowing that he's going to start. Knowing that how he's been treated. And now the gaffer wants him to, fight for him. He's not going to try and do well. Sterling is going to be, I feel like he's one of those players that never, ever appreciated Graham Potter. He's potentially going to be the captain. The other question is, who's going to be the captain? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to be Kovacic? Is it going to be Sterling? There's no Silva. There's no Reece James. It's potentially going to be Sterling because there was rumors saying that Sterling might be the captain. And I feel like he's one of those players who didn't sign up for Graham Potter. He definitely signed up for Thomas Tuchel. So look, ladies and gentlemen, that's my lineup. I'm potentially going for a 1-1 in this particular match, and I don't think that's going to be good enough. Let me know what your thoughts are in this particular match. Everything that we talked about, please, in the comment section, let us know. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content, and smash the like button. Get those likes up, and I shall see you guys for the watch along. Until then, take care. See ya.